All right, Ari, thank you for joining me today on Friday. Today I have a senior from Ocean Township, Charlotte Palumbo. Charlotte, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Actually, your dad just sent me a link. I guess I should tell him it's working now. All right, so there we go. Charlotte, yeah, thank you for joining me. Little technical issues, but we worked it out. First, before we get into the soccer and talk about your career at Ocean and your soccer career, what is Ocean doing with school? The hybrid, virtual?
We're doing a hybrid by alphabetical of like your last name. So people with last name A through L go into school on Monday and Tuesday, and M through Z are online. And then it switches on Thursdays and Fridays. And Wednesdays is all half day, all virtual for everyone.
Okay. Now, the end of last year, you guys probably went all virtual. How did you find the transition, going to all virtual and then now doing hybrid? How did you find that adjustment?
I like the hybrid a lot better because I do get to spend some time in the classroom, and the teachers are a lot better with the virtual kids like in the fall than they were in the spring because they had time to prepare. So they're doing their best to make it like we're in the classroom. I mean, it's not the same, but they've made it a lot easier for us at home.
Yeah, everyone, students were thrown into it. If you get teachers weren't prepared for what was going to happen, all of a sudden you're in a classroom and now you have to come up with different ways, to teach and stuff. But what I said, when I was doing the interviews in the spring, right when COVID first, hit, it was a good, it's a good learning for high school students for when you get to college, because it's going to all be different, when you're in college. So that's a plus. So we'll talk soccer. You're a senior.
Yeah. That's making sure it's working.
So how old were you when you started playing soccer?
I was about 3.
That seems to be the age when kids start playing soccer. Did you play any other sports when you were younger?
I played softball and basketball through elementary and middle school, but once I got to high school, I mainly focused on soccer.
Okay. I was told to ask you this. Are you a lefty or righty?
I consider myself left-footed, but my dad is convinced that he made me left-footed because when I was really little, he says I only wanted to shoot with my right foot, and he made me shoot with my left foot, and he made me do it so many times that it got to the point where I just wanted to shoot with my left foot. So he thinks he made me lefty, but I don't believe that at all. I think I was always a lefty, and he just wants to take credit for it. Okay. So I am left-footed.
What do you use when you write?
When I'm right-handed but left-footed.
Okay, so. that's good clarification. You could shoot with both feet, though.
Yeah.
I was at a game this week, not going to say, and somebody struggled with their left foot. It was a little. It was an awkward shot. But I asked you? You have any siblings?
I have a younger brother. He's a freshman at Ocean.
Soccer? Or does he play any sports?
Soccer, yeah.
Are you a good big sister teaching him a lot of things?
Well, I try. I like to take credit for some of his success because without me, he wouldn't have. I pushed him a lot when we were younger because I wouldn't let him win when he was little. So I think I made him as good as he is because, I was the big sister. I was knocking him around.
Good and bad. You couldn't let him win at all?
Never.
That's good competitive spirit. I like to ask, the players this. So what have your parents meant to you, in your development, and just, helping you able to pursue, your soccer career?
Well, they've always been my biggest supporters, my number one fans, and they've always encouraged me to pursue what I am passionate about, which has always been soccer. And they haven't just been paying for this. It's so expensive, but they've always been in the stands. They're always at every game and they cheer me on. My dad always takes pictures of me and my teammates, and they're everything to me when it comes to soccer. That's
great. Getting to know the soccer people a little bit better, because last year I only pretty much went to see St. Rose, Freehold, and Jackson last year. So this year I expanded. I want, see the whole shore, because I do that for basketball. And, getting to know the parents, see the parents at the fields, you see the same faces, every game. It's good to see. I like to ask this: who is a role model, whether family, celebrity, athlete, who was when you were growing up?
I've always looked up to Christy Rampone on the women's national team. She and I play similar positions on my travel team. So I've always wanted to play like her. I've met her a few times, and I was actually on a travel team with her niece. So she's always been my role model when it comes to soccer.
That's great, and it's always fun when you get to meet, somebody from the national team. When I was younger, I got to meet the women's when Mia Hamm was playing. Because I was assistant coaching with my dad, my sister's team, and they won some contest and got to meet the national team after the game. It was pretty fun. You talk about travel and transition to your youth career. Where did you start playing soccer?
I started playing for the Ocean Township, the town team.
Yeah,
and then after around 10, I went to the New Jersey Wildcats. And then when I was around 13 or 14, I went to Cedar Stars Academy. And then this past summer, I went to Matchfit Shore.
Okay.
So, bit of
I hear a lot of good things about that Wildcat team.
Oh, it was the best.
Yeah, some of the players that I've been told that's on that team that, you guys are juniors and seniors right now, and, some of the best players in the Shore. So talk a little bit about that team. Who was the coach? It
was Tom Napoli, and then it was Martin Klinger.
Yeah, I had Abby on last week. I think she said Tom. So, obviously Abby from RBC. Who are a couple other players you played with on that team?
Ava Madoff from Freehold Township. Noelle Powell's also from RBC. Taylor Napoli doesn't play she goes to Monmouth Regional, but I don't think she plays. She plays mainly in the Scott Cedar Stars. Abby Damer is on my team. And then Olivia Carney and Carly Knight both play for Brick Memorial. And there's a few others that I'm missing, but we're all over.
Yeah. It's nice to see, like, when Abby's dad was telling me and Ava's dad, I always see Ava's dad, always talk to him at the games. And he was telling me about, the Wildcat team, when I saw him last. And, you girls are really all over it, Brick, Freehold, Ocean. That's good. So you moved to Cedar Stars, which is DA, right? It was DA. Now, before we talk about, we'll talk about DA and high school soccer in a little bit. Who was your coach at Cedar?
I had quite a few. It was Martin Klinger when I first got there, and then I had a few during my time at the DA, and then it was Andrew G. Lombardo and Greg Weidbolt, and then it was Ryan Tetra, who I followed to Matchfit, so he's my current coach. So
who was your coach when you first started playing?
Well, my dad was obviously my first coach, but Tom Napoli was my first travel coach, and I would say he helped me develop the most. I would not be half the player I am without Tom Napoli.
Have you always played the same position?
I've always been a defender, whether that's center or outside back, but more in the high school, I play more center mid, which is a little different. But
I'm noticing that players play different positions in high school than what they usually, because I didn't, Katie Coyle, Middletown, she made the list for top defenders, the preseason list, and I text the reporter. I said, she plays midfield. And he's like, I'm told she plays defender on her academy team. And that's where, Nordine, I think, has her penciled in as a defender. So it was fascinating learning that, so many kids play different positions on their club teams than they do, at the high school level. So talking about high school, you go into school your freshman year, and a lot of girls had to make the decision, who played DA, whether they wanted to play high school or DA. What were your feeling, having to make that decision? What were some of your thoughts?
Well, I felt like it was something I've been working almost my whole life for, an opportunity to play. And it was the first ever year of the DA. So I felt it was an opportunity that I couldn't pass up, because a lot of people would have wished to have been in my position. But at the same time, I did want to spend more time with my friends and have more of like a social life at school, because it was hard, because DA was 6 days a week, every day after school, my entire weekend. So I did have to miss a few things, but I felt it was worth kind of the check and balance of getting to play in the development academy and getting the exposure I did playing at Cedar Stars DA. So it was a tough decision, but I feel like I made the right one at the time.
Okay. So. Yeah, I had Julianne Laskauskas on, back in May, and she had to make the same decision. She was at PDA, and she came back for her junior. She played freshman year at St. Rose, and then I guess they told her, they didn't want her playing, and then she had to make the decision. She didn't play sophomore year, and same thing. She came back her junior, senior year, and same thing. Playing with her friends, was a big thing of why I'm sure that factored into your decision, because, freshman year you played DA and then you came back sophomore year. So was that one of your decisions why you decided to play high school your sophomore year?
Yeah, I really wanted to just be more of like a high school student than a soccer player, because in DA, soccer became more of like a job than like a passion. So I kind of fell out of love with the game a little bit. And high school soccer really helped me get that back, because I love playing with my friends and I love playing for the school. And like, it's just a totally different environment.
Yeah, there's nothing like playing for, when I interviewed the coaches in preseason, they all pretty much said, there's nothing like being on the bus ride, going to an away game, just, spending time, seeing the kids in the hall. What were, I like to ask what were some goals entering high school, but, you didn't play your freshman year. So you start playing your sophomore year. What were some goals you wanted to accomplish at Ocean Township over your 3 seasons?
I really wanted to be a major contributor to the team, and I wanted to develop as a player throughout my time I didn't really have specific goals for like, it was more of like a overtime at the high school. Like, so I really wanted to become a major contributor to the team as a whole. I feel like I've done that.
Who were, your first season playing at Ocean Township? Who were some like upperclassmen that kind of helped you, along the way?
I was actually the only sophomore on the team. So a lot of my friends were still on JV. So I didn't really feel like I knew anyone. And the seniors were amazing my sophomore year. They really made me feel like I was part of the team. That's actually how I met my best friend. She was a senior when I was a sophomore, and she kind of took me under her wing and made me feel like I was a part of something. They taught me how to be a leader, and they made me feel welcome and like I was wanted there. So.
And that's ironic because now you're one of the only. Are you the only senior?
There's actually 6 of us, but only 2 are returning.
Okay.
From.
So we'll talk a little bit about the senior year after. I like to ask this to kids. So you're going from your sophomore year to junior year. What was one thing that you were looking to improve on yourself? Going into your second season.
I was actually switching positions. So my sophomore year, I did play on the back line, and my coach wanted me to play more in the middle as a junior. So I really wanted to adapt to that position and kind of make it more my own, because I had never played anything other than defense or outside mid before. So it was something completely different. And I really wanted to get the position down and kind of help out a lot more, because we were losing seniors that played that position. So we needed someone to fill in. So I kind of wanted to step up and take that position and make it my role. So that was something I needed to work on a lot. So it was a little hard.
I mean, I saw your team once this season when you guys were playing shore, and I mean, you look like a natural in the position that you're in. So it's weird that you're playing defense, but that you say you're played defense basically your whole career.
Mm-hmm.
Transition into this season. What were your thoughts? Summertime. What were you thinking with COVID? Did you think the season was going to happen, or?
I was really nervous we weren't going to have a season, so I'm very happy we made it this far. But I kind of had to take every training as if it might be my last. So I still take it. Every game might be my last. You never know when your last game will be. So you just have to take things kind of day by day and just hope that it's not the end. But if it would be the end, you have to be okay with it. You just have to look at the positives of it, kind of.
Yeah, and
it's hard.
You're a good person to ask, because Ocean did get faced with schedule conflicts with teams that ended up getting, COVID cases, or they played against somebody who had a COVID case, and for some reason they had to shut down. How did it affect the team, you think, mentally, that, you thought you had a game this week and then all of a sudden it was canceled, and then, coaches trying to, just fill in some games with, whoever else had some openings?
Well, it was kind of hard because you prepare to play against a certain team and you have the mentality that you're playing against this team this week and you need to work on certain things that this team has assets of. So it was hard when, I'm trying to think of, I think a few schools got pulled out from under us when we were about to play them and just got pushed back. But my coach was really good with, I think, the Madawan game. That was a game we weren't supposed to play, but she put it in when we had games that were canceled. So she was really good with keeping us on top of playing games, not just having to practice for 2 weeks. So she was good with, it's happening next week. I think she's trying to schedule games because RBC just got canceled, but she's doing her best.
We'll have to see because I remember when you guys didn't have games, another school didn't have any games, and I told her, and she said she was going to try to reach out to that school just to schedule something for that week. So I'll see who else is going to end up not playing next week. Do states start right after that? Yeah, the next week. Right?
2 weeks from this week.
What were some goals, not talking postseason because nobody knew what postseason was going to look like, but what were some goals your team set and you set for yourself for your final year?
We wanted to improve on our record, really. That's really what we're working on, because I know it sounds cliche, but we didn't show on paper how much we grew as a team. So we really wanted to just show how we have grown and we have become better all as individuals and as a team by winning more games, because there were some games where we had completely outplayed our opponent, but they just hit one in at the end of double overtime and that was it. So you can't really see how much we grew, but we wanted to show that.
I wasn't at the St. Rose game when you guys played last year, and I figured it was going to be a lopsided game, and then I talked to couple of St. Rose parents, and they said Ocean completely outplayed us the whole game, and it was one of those scenarios where Jules does whatever Jules does and puts a goal in towards the end of the game. So that did you had a young team last year too, or was it more of a mix?
It's more so this year, but we did have pretty balanced upper and lower class.
That bring that to my next question. You being the senior leader on the field and having a bunch of freshmen, a bunch of sophomores that play. What is something you're trying to teach the younger kids?
Well, I'm trying to teach them. Well, I know how I felt when I was in their situation, that I didn't want to do certain things because I felt I couldn't because I was younger. Like speaking up, because there are some younger players that have a lot more soccer experience than some of the seniors. But they feel like they shouldn't be making that run because our seniors making that run. But I have to make them it's okay to tell them not to do that, because you know what you're doing and you got it. So you're not lesser because you're younger. So I want them to feel like they are equal to us. I don't no matter what grade they are. So I just want them to feel like they're a part of the team just as much as we are.
That's good, because I know, freshmen tend not to be vocal. They're afraid they're going to get yelled at or something, even though they might, they probably, could be right, especially, the ones that are very talented. Your team has had quite a few accomplishments this year. Early in the year, you guys cracked the top 10 for BPP, which is a great achievement. What was the reaction with the team? What'd you guys start? 4-0, 5-0? 4-0. What was the when you guys made, top 10 and, being such a, a younger team?
Well, it's not really something we saw coming, so we're all really excited about it. I think my coach said it was first time in a few years we won our opening game, so we were all really excited about one win, and then we won 4. So it was a big deal for us because we're not used to anything like that. So we were all really excited.
Another big win was the Maya Cup, which the coach talked about it in the preseason with me. What is it like, playing, such a good cause? They did something last season for basketball. I think it was the first year I actually went to that. How, playing, under the lights for a good cause? What's the feeling playing that game?
It's definitely the game we all look forward to in the season. I mean, it's not the most important, division wise, but it's always our favorite. The whole school comes to watch, and it's under the lights. So I don't know. It's just a different kind of feeling before that game. And it's for Maya, and Maya means so much to all of us because she was our warrior, and we raise money for different kids each year that are sick. So the game just means so much for the school, not even just the team, that everyone looks forward to Maya Cup. It's the best game of the season.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I see a bunch of schools, they tend to do more and more stuff like that, and it's great. I try to get to as many of those as I can. Now, this year, you guys play Raritan, and, you had the big game-winning goal. Can you talk about that?
Well, it was in the end of overtime, so we were all super tired from playing really hard for the full 90 minutes. And I felt like we just needed to put one in the back of the net. I felt like we were kind of outplaying them. We had a lot more shots than they did. We just weren't putting them away. I don't know. I was taking a lot of shots, and one just happened to go in towards the end. I mean, that's all I can really say.
Yeah, nothing like, golden goal in overtime, a big game like that. Coach Cassidy, talk about, playing for her. I knew Coach Cassidy a little bit because her daughter played with on my niece's rec team a couple of years ago. So I knew her a little. To talk about her and, her soccer mind.
She's very culture. She's very into like the culture of being a great teammate and everything like that. We do this thing called the hard hat every week, which is every week a player gets the hard hat. And it's from accomplishing one of the 21 ways to be a great teammate. It's like a book. So she lets us read the book when we receive the hard hat. And she's always worked on culture and being above the line, which is just, and she does this E plus R equals O, event plus response equals outcome. So no matter what you can't control, you control your response, and that affects the outcome. So work on what you can control and not what you can't control. The refs, the ball, the wind, you can't control a lot of things. So just work on you and your effort, and things will go your way. So.
How many seasons has she been there now? This is her third?
This is her third or fourth season.
Okay.
Yet.
So it's good, she basically came in, when you came in. So, you're actually helping set, the culture that she wants to set, even for the future. So we're going to do a little quick round robin questions. Okay. Before we get, we wrap up and, talk about your future. So what's your favorite TV show?
Friends. It's my favorite
TV show. Oh, wow. Too young for Friends. Favorite movie?
Call Me by Your Name.
I don't even know what that is. I don't really watch a lot of movies. So, favorite food?
Ramen noodles.
Ramen noodles. That's simple. What's your favorite subject in school?
Math or science.
Okay, math was mine in high school, and then I hated it in college. What is your favorite thing to do outside of soccer? After school, or whatever.
I like to go bike riding with my friends a lot. I do that a lot in my neighborhood.
All right, that's good. That's all I have right now for that. I'm going to keep coming up with more. Abby's dad was the one who suggested that, so you can thank him. So talking about your future before we wrap up, when you look at colleges, non-sports related, I like that. What is something you're looking at a school?
I wanted it to be in the Northeast. I didn't really want to have to fly or drive super far, and I didn't want a really big school. So I wanted small to medium. It was a good size for me.
Okay. Do you know what you want to study?
Nursing. I want to be a nurse.
There you go. Kids today, nurses, doctors, physical therapists. That's a lot of school. So that will answer your career. So you want to be a nurse. Any particular field you want to concentrate on in nursing, or?
More pediatric, like with kids.
That's good. The last question I like to ask everybody: what advice would you give your younger self?
I put a lot of pressure on myself, both with soccer and with school and with everything in between. So I should have been more kind to myself, because I would get very mad at myself when I messed up some little thing. So just take it easy. I'm doing my best. Just don't worry about the little things.
Or were your parents hard on you on the soccer field, or no?
More so when I was younger. My dad would kind of be my coach after the game ended and tell me all the things I did wrong. I didn't like it at the time, but looking back on it, he made me a better player. But it was more me than my parents or any coach.
I'm sure now that, you might think you play bad, and they're probably telling you, you didn't.
Yeah.
I know, I've done a lot of these interviews. I know how you girls are set now, and you guys could play the best game ever and still think, you could have done better. So,
yeah.
Charlotte, thank you for joining me. I'm glad I got to know you off the field, and hopefully your coach could get something scheduled next week. If not, wait to the States. Do you know who you have first round?
Summit. Never even heard of it.
No, I've heard of it. Don't know anything about them. So yeah, I got to take a look at the brackets to see. It stinks. Everybody's playing the same day, so I have to try to pick the best matchup. Yeah. And I try to pick, two short teams, because I don't venture out at a shore. Only for basketball, I'll do that. And so I'm gonna have to try to find where two short teams are playing. Not everybody loads their roster on NJ.com, and I don't like giving updates if I don't know the players or numbers or anything. So, well, thank you. I wish you luck. I wish the team luck come States, and good luck in college.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Have a good day.
You too.